Have you ever heard of Belchite? A town frozen in time. A place where the ruins still whisper the horrors of the past. But what I'm about to tell you isn't just about the town's history. It's a terrifying experience lived by a young woman who simply wanted a peaceful getaway. She had no idea she wasn't alone. Sophie, a photography enthusiast, had rented a secluded cabin near the ruins of Belchite. The location was perfect for capturing the eerie beauty of the ruins from different angles, far from the noise of big cities. But from the moment she arrived, something felt off. The silence wasn't just quiet. It was oppressive, unnatural, as if even nature itself was holding its breath. On her first night, while editing her photos, she heard footsteps outside. Slow, irregular, as if someone was wandering without purpose. She peered out the window, but saw nothing. Just the ruins bathed in moonlight and a faint wind stirring the dust. Convinced it was just her imagination, she went back to her work, until she heard something even more terrifying, a whisper. Close, just inches from her ear. A cold breath. She spun around. No one was there. The next night, she set her camera on the windowsill, programmed to take a photo every 30 seconds. Maybe she would capture something unusual, or prove to herself that it was all in her head. The next morning, she scrolled through the images. Her heart stopped. In one of the photos, a dark figure stood right outside the window, staring at her. Its form was vague, humanoid in shape, but indistinct. Sophie felt her blood run cold. Someone, or something, had been watching her all night. Panicked, she decided to leave the cabin immediately. But as she packed, she heard a sound from the hallway. A scratching noise, like nails dragging against wood. As she approached, she saw the doorknob slowly turning, on its own. She didn't wait another second. Grabbing her things, she yanked the door open and ran out. But what she saw outside made her freeze. In the shadows of the ruins, a row of figures stood motionless. Their faces were blurred, featureless. But Sophie knew they were watching her. She sprinted to her car and drove away without looking back. Hours later, in a cafe far from Belchite, she finally dared to review the photos again. But this time, something even more chilling appeared. In the very last image, accidentally taken as she fled, there was a pale hand pressed against the inside of the cabin window. Since that day, Sophie refuses to talk about what she experienced. But some say that if you walk alone near the ruins of Belchite, you might still see a shadowy figure behind the cabin's window, watching, waiting for the next visitor. And you? Would you dare spend a night in a remote cabin in Belchite? Tell me in the comments if you'd have the courage. And don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying stories. See you soon, if you can sleep tonight. Have you ever heard of the Lighthouse at Finisterre? A place where the land ends, and the vast, endless ocean begins. It's a site wrapped in legends and stories of lost sailors. But what I'm about to tell you is something far more chilling. A mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Many years ago, the lighthouse was manned by a solitary keeper named Elias. He had lived there for years, accustomed to the solitude and the relentless crashing of waves against the cliffs. But one winter night, Elias vanished without a trace. The morning after his disappearance, the lighthouse was found in perfect order. The lamp was still burning, his logbook was up to date, and his belongings remained untouched. There were no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away. Just an empty chair by the window, as if he had simply vanished into thin air. Authorities searched the area extensively. The cliffs were steep, but there was no evidence that he had fallen. The ocean gave up no clues. Elias was gone, and no one could explain how or why. Months later, another keeper was assigned to Finisterre. At first, everything seemed normal, but then, strange things began to happen. Late at night, he would hear footsteps echoing through the lighthouse, even though he was completely alone. Objects would move from their places, and whispers floated through the halls, barely audible over the crashing waves. One night, as he sat in the same chair Elias had occupied, he heard a knock at the door. A slow, deliberate knock. When he opened it, there was no one there, just the darkness of the night and the distant horizon of the sea. But as he turned back, he noticed something that made his blood freeze. The logbook, which he had left closed on the desk, was now open. And on the latest entry, in handwriting that wasn't his own, was a chilling message. Still here, watching. The new keeper left the lighthouse the next morning, refusing to return. Since then, no one has been able to stay there for long. Some claim to hear whispers carried by the wind. Others say they've seen a shadow moving inside the lighthouse, even when it's supposed to be empty. To this day, the disappearance of Elias remains a mystery. Did he leave? Did something take him? Or is he still there, trapped between the land and the sea, forever watching? And you, would you dare to spend a night alone at the Lighthouse of Finisterre? Let me know in the comments if you'd have the courage. And don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying stories. See you soon, if you can still sleep tonight.